So we started the biggest fight in Shark Tank history. We launched on Shark Tank, and we did a gym. And while I was in college, our first real day of launch was a ton of downloads, ton of revenue, just all at one time. I won $1 million in scholarships to go to college. We were featured in we were featured on the front page of the App Store 3 times. You think AI's going to take their job? Yeah. People think it is. They think all these layoffs and quote unquote downsizing are like just really AI is replacing workforces. And I think it's probably going to get worse, unfortunately.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today on Behind Company Lines. I interviewed Chris Gray, CEO and founder of Scholly. Chris infamously started the biggest fight on Shark Tank history with his company Scholly, which is a solution for students who are trying to find scholarships for college. Chris and I sat down to talk about his early journey as an entrepreneur, starting his company at 18, going through college and going through and actually competing on Shark Tank to earn investment from Damien and Lori on the show and what that really meant for his company and how he took off from there. Recently, he had an acquisition, which we'll get into. We talk about the changes in education and also the need for universities to deliver better content that is more suited for what students need today. We go into a lot of different topics like investment and Black ownership and Black entrepreneurship and what that success means to him. I hope you enjoy the video and thanks for joining us. First question right off the gate is, I always like to get into the mindset of a founder when things got real. When did the founder responsibility really hit you? You built this company, you started this idea. When did those responsibilities really, wow, I run a team of people here?
Yeah, so I think from day one, I think that when I started Scholly, I was in college. I was 23 years old, and so I was still a student. I was trying to graduate high school, graduate college and do that at the same time, and trying to start a company at the same time. So that was something that was really unique. And I hired my first employee was my COO. He was in his 40s. I was in my 20s. And my second employee was also in that as well, my CMO. And so it was a really interesting experience because I had to hire these people. So we launched on Shark Tank. Yeah, so we launched on Shark Tank. And we did a gym and while I was in college. So our first real day of launch was a ton of downloads, ton of revenue, just all at one time with no one else. So we just had all this stuff happen at one time. So yeah, so I had my co-founders.
What year in college were you?
Senior.
Senior year. Okay.
I was a senior, and I was a senior, and then we just launched it. It aired on February of 2015, and then I graduated in June.
Wow, it's incredible to think about from when it aired to you graduating. How different was college at that point in time? That transition, had people really caught on to the episode and really seen the work behind what you've been doing all that time, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it was different. So my story starts, originally I won $1 million in scholarships to go to college. So I was in school, I was obviously very active and doing a bunch of things. So, a lot of people weren't really surprised. So really the problem of starting Scholly, it really ties to my own personal journey and something that I really wanted to do in terms of helping people. And it was though people really got it in the beginning. And my first investor, actually, I was a part of this thing called Dorm Room Fund. When I first started, it was first round capital. I was one of the first founding members. And founded by Josh Kaufman, First Round Capital. And then actually 3 years into it, Josh Kaufman, the founder of First Round Capital, actually my first investor. Like I had a 15-minute conversation with him about what I was doing. He wrote a $100K check. And that's also that a lot of people don't know this is actually how I got started. People saw Shark Tank, but to actually start it was actually Josh Kaufman.
Yeah, it's often like those angel investors, those people who believe before the big investment that really don't get the credit often. And it's awesome to hear your story behind that. You know, when you were going through building the business model, obviously you won these amazing scholarships and awards. When did it click to you, okay, I can figure a way to do this for other people? And then where did the building start from there?
I think that, so we started building like 2014, and I wanted to flesh the idea out, figure out the problem, because originally I started it based on, I was helping a lot of people, and I realized that I can't scale myself. I'm not powered by AWS servers and whatnot. So I really wanted to really create something that can leverage technology. It was a time where this kind of gold rush in tech was happening. So really wanted to find a way to leverage that. And I started building, right? So I actually built the first database using SQL. I had to manually find the different scholarships and really just bare bones before recruiting my co-founders, one of which, Nick Perillo, I went to school with, the director with, and then one of my co-founders also won the same scholarship as me. So we were just just build and ground together, decided that we need to build it. And I was a non-technical founder for the most part, so I had to look cool. And even though I was trying to teach myself how to code, I realized coding is something that fits a certain personality type. So yeah,
Right.
so I started. So I know when I fleshed out the idea, realized that I'm not a coder. I realized that I really wanted to make something. I want to make it out. That's when I decided to build, and I recruited my two co-founders who were both technical. And I was able to really build the thing.
It's amazing to hear that realization. You're like, okay, I'm not a coder, but I need other people on my team to actually make this thing happen. And how did your mentality shift towards what you could do for the business? When did that, I'm sure, outward kind of emphasis towards the responsibilities that you had to take on and really grow the business?
I think really, I think when you aired on Shark Tank, we were hitting like thousands of hits to our site per second. So we started the biggest fight in Shark Tank history, which started this huge viral moment of calling
Yeah.
online, Twitter, everything. Well, it's called X now, whatever. But it's a lot just happening. So really understand, like, making that much money, having our team, it really just put it in perspective for me, and really just understand how to grow a business. Then I think we got another small angel from Kevin Plank, CEO of Under Armour, Steve Case, CEO of AOL, founder of AOL. So these were really big people. So having these expectations, being like, again, I'm the first in my family to go to college, right? So all this
Yeah.
stuff is new to me, and I've been blessed to have friends who are there, but it's been definitely a journey. So just really understanding just running the business, learning how setting KPIs, setting goals, all the while having people report to me who are twice my age at the time was
Yeah.
just definitely daunting. But I was able to surround myself with advisors and good mentors who were able to help me.
I was going to ask you what helped you through that learning curve, because that's a lot to learn for any founder at any point.
Yeah, I think that for me, yes. So lots of mentors, including the people that worked for me, they were really good. They also had financial upside for helping me mentor and make sure the business. That's why I hired a COO first, someone who had enough experience on how to operate, put processes in place. And also, because a lot of times it's starting to start as a Black entrepreneur, it's really daunting, especially last time. I know when George Floyd happened, there was this whole, everyone's going to invest in Black and Latino founders. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that stopped, right? And then now it's kind of like we're back to normal in the market. And the thing is, you saw all these people raising friends and family rounds. Like their grandma, their dad gave them $300,000 to start a company, right? Or they don't have to take a salary for 2 years because they can not have to work, right? So dealing with that was daunting, but I was really able to move past that and really get to a point where I was surrounded with the right team and have the right mentorship. And luckily, other founders who may have been privileged, who recognize that we have different backgrounds, but were really able to give me the mentorship and advise and make the connections that I need. And actually, my first angel investors was the friend of one of my first employees as well.
Yeah. How hard was it after you hit that incredible virality that all of us founders hope for at one point in time? How hard was it to recreate that similar type of energy to continue growing?
We had a few viral moments. Shark Tank was all the first one. Then we were featured in number one. We were featured on the front page of the App Store 3 times. Like everyone in the App Store saw Scholly. And then the third time we had actually a random Tumblr post go viral.
Really?
And that was really, yeah, it was random.
What was it about?
Yeah, it was like some random person that actually they post content that wasn't had anything related to education, but decided that they decided to one time post content that was around Scholly. It was a screenshot of a USA Today article I was in. Student help peers win scholarships, and it went viral. And we got like 30, 40, 50,000. It was just crazy, right? So we had a
Wow.
few viral videos were really good. So
Take
but
it.
really, it's hard to replicate. It just happens, and you just keep doing great work. But we did have a few moments. That was great. And different random interviews, different brand awareness, just things that happened at once.
Yeah. When you started growing Scholly, obviously, for those who don't know, you pay for the service of being able to access all these different opportunities, scholarships, huge database, connect with a lot of partners. When you started really growing Scholly, what was the objective of the business? Was it to partner with institutions, find a big donor backer, find somebody to just fund it and create a better algorithm? What was the objective there?
So one, Scholly's now free. And that's first and
That was
foremost.
last year, right?
Yeah, last
Yeah.
year. And we have 3 lines of business. We have our scholarship management service, which we have managed scholarships from Amazon, Google, Netflix, and a bunch of other brands. Then we have our other line of business called Scholly Offers, and that's our affiliate program. We incentivize people through scholarships and things to take part of our affiliate. So that's what we really made money in the past few years that way before transitioning to make the app free. Yeah, and the app the goal of the app is to, outside of the scholarship that we manage, we give out millions a year actually directly to scholarships. We manage scholars' own funds, but we are able to then, but also we're able to really be able to really have been able to really scale the business. And I know we're going to talk about the acquisition later, but being able to scale the business, make the right, and be able to help as many people as we can, and actually using data on the back end to make sure that we're helping the students who are immediately in need and who are just active.
Thinking about the process of scholarships, you talk about the management part, and you hear all the time how much money goes unused from scholarships. I feel like that's when money goes unspent, in my mind is mechanically, it's not a bad thing, but what is behind these institutions or scholarships, whereas they want to actually have students earn these scholarships, use this money to go off to college? How are they mismanaging it, and why is it bad that this money goes unused or unspent?
So the thing is, last year, only around actually 2022, about only 41% of people that qualify for scholarships applied for them. So meaning the
Wow.
41 people who have applied, right? So part of the reason why it's unclaimed is people just are not applying for them. They don't know and the big reason they don't know they exist, right? So that was a big gap that we've been trying to solve, is that making people think they qualify, making sure people understand merit scholarships exist, all the just being scattered all over the place. So filling that gap, so there are hundreds of millions of dollars that go unclaimed years, simply because students don't know they exist, and that's been basically being number one reason. So really, that's really the main reason people believe in the existence. People, they think they don't qualify for them. People don't understand the financial aid process. Scholarships just being hard to find, and then also just a lot of people just having this nuanced belief that scholarships are only for people that are going into college. People don't think that you can apply for scholarship while you're currently in college. They just go and take out the loan, do the student loan route, which amplifies their student debt and just makes things bad all across the board.
Yeah. And for the people offering scholarships to institutions or companies or organizations, what's their incentive to actually give individuals money to go through college or become maybe in a certain career path? What's their incentive?
So it depends. Some companies just simply want to give back. I got a lot of the scholarships, like the Gates Millennium Scholarship, Coca-Cola, Walmart, any brand you can think, I probably got it. And I think that for those organizations, they're strictly based on impact. You have some scholarships that are trying to fund people they want to recruit for their companies to work for them. You have scholarships that are really tailored to getting ideas around essays, business products. You have some scholarships that are specifically want to impact a certain demographic, like people that have disabilities, people that are foster youth, and all those things. Yeah, and so they all have different purposes. They all want to target very specific people who do their thing. The scholarship for nursing, different scholarships for schools. So yeah, so a lot of them are really trying to basically just help individual demographics who are looking for that money. But ultimately, the overall goal is impact. But some of them, there are business cases around it, where in terms of brand awareness, and we even have certain Netflix created a scholarship to support a show, right? To help promote a show. So there are lots of ways, and we pride ourselves that at Scholly, we have been able to really take money that would have went to marketing and other things and really convert it to scholarship dollars. So, and really help a lot of people. So that's been something that we've been really proud of.
Yeah, that's interesting with the Netflix scholarship to promote a show. What other interesting scholarships have you seen? I'm sure you've seen a bunch, being that you've earned a bunch, that you didn't think would be something that would be out there, ended up being true.
I think that a lot of the scholarships I got, at the time I thought the Gates scholarship, I didn't know a lot of them existed. Coca-Cola, Walmart, these, because at the time, 18, that was something, being the first in my family to go to college. I'm not coming from the best school system where I think only 15% of people go to college or don't complete it. So I think that was, all of it was new to me, right? But I didn't realize how much was available. There was just so much money. And some of the scholarships told me I got $1 million. It's just a lie. I forgot some of them. But the thing, Lowe's, I think I Lowe's, it was Dell. I got so many. And then Brian Reynolds, I have a Mac, but that's not here or there. I got 500, 1,000, 20,000, 30,000. It's all you can name. But the thing is, I think that overall, getting some of those awards and being exposed to that really helped me start Scholly, because when I went from a place of struggle, of trying to just do my own thing and trying to maximize my own awards, to really understand that this is a seismic problem in an industry. and being able to want to be the conduit and also a case study on helping people get that money, understand that.
Yeah. I mean, in reflection, you started it so young. Did you always know you were going to be a founder, or along the way, did somebody push you, say, hey, you should pursue this, don't stop this idea and continue it? Was it internal? Was it external?
I think it was internal. I mean, I've
Yeah.
overcome pretty much anything you can name without going too much. So it was definitely internal. I think my ambition was pretty innate, and being
Yeah.
able to overcome a lot of things and being able to persevere to one, overcome poverty. I'm a Black gay man, being able to build a company and being one of the only very few handful of Black entrepreneurs that were able to sell their company to actually a major company. Like that doesn't happen at all. So really proud of those things, and hopefully that can be an example to others to be able to who are able to do the same as well.
Yeah. Obviously, we want to go into the acquisition, but hold
Yeah.
that off for a little bit longer. The idea behind diverse entrepreneurs, I think, really became popular within the last maybe 5 years. I think in terms of funding, and maybe a little bit
Yeah.
longer, really 6 years. I would
Ooh.
say 2018 was the height, and then, like you said, it normalized. How much do you see I see a lot of micro VCs popping up. I see a lot of different accelerators, incubators. Are
Mhm.
those exciting to you with what they'll actually drive in terms of the change of having just a more diverse cohort and really just more people to solve more problems?
Yeah, so I would say that what you're describing was only about 3 years, three, maybe four, being generous in terms of the height. It was 2020, George Floyd, the spike in supporting Black people's school, supporting minority schools, for women. Then first Me Too, women, people just think we suddenly matter now, and it's just crazy. So yeah, so that was about 2 years and 3 years, and now toward the end of last year, and starting this year, you're seeing people a whole attack on diversity and inclusion, right? Where they're
Yeah.
trying to make it illegal to have funds and do have any dollars allocated specifically to support a specific minority. So I think that times are changing, right? And it's just something that we have to think about. It's something that we have to really fight and show results. So I do think a lot of these D&I initiatives are performative. Some are meaningful, but a lot of them are performative. It's, oh,
Sure.
hey, we're gonna make this, $5 million commitment to this university or this thing, but our percentage of Black people we ever hired doesn't change. So
Right.
it's oh yeah, we're gonna do this tax write off, but we're not actually gonna hire. We're gonna sponsor all these events, but we're not gonna hire you, right? Like we're just not doing that.
Yeah.
So, and I have a lot of big tech companies, so it's some of them are effective and some of them are not.
Yeah. Who do you think is doing a good job?
Who I think is doing a good job. One the thing job is Google's trying harder than the others. They have a
Yeah.
lot of initiative they're trying, even though everyone's being guilty of laying off a lot of D&I people, especially from the recruiting side. But in terms of initiative and funding, that's something that they have done. And I think that some others who have done well, Amazon tries to do well. I think there's a lot that's there, and they've kept their commitment steady. You haven't seen them sunset. Apple has done a good job. I know they've actually are LPs and a lot of Black fund managers. So that's something that
Wow.
people don't know. So they're LPs in those funds. So helping a lot of Black fund managers grant me money and be able to invest, who are specifically focused on investing in diverse founders. But Amazon and Google have accelerators, and Apple has the Black Founders Developer Program. So there are a lot of people, and I've heard people go through those programs and actually see in those accelerators and actually that they're super beneficial to what they're doing.
Yeah. Shifting gears and focusing on the business, what was a pivotal moment for you as a founder to add these different business lines and really accelerate the growth of the company? As we all know, when you're testing things out, it's hard to sacrifice time on one service or
Mhm.
product and just lose those resources. What was the pivotal moment to really start expanding and being pulled towards these different products that essentially helped your business grow to the recent acquisition?
I think that understanding that our business model had to evolve over the other times, right? The pay model wasn't the best, but it kept the lights on, but we had other ways to make money that really helped the company grow. And I think that so expanding to new lines of business was really important for growth, but also we found our use had an appetite for, and that was something that was really really important to us. But I'm really so about finding the right business model. It took time. When I was starting school, I knew what CAC was and all these other things, and LTV and all these
TV,
things.
yeah,
So I had to,
yeah,
yeah, so I had to learn that on the fly. So understanding all that stuff now it's been really helpful. But overall, it's just learning the right business model, having the right business model from the start at the reset. Definitely was something that I wish I can. I'm happy I'm able to. I hope I'll be able to do that going forward with any other company I start.
Yeah, yeah. Leading up to being acquired by Sallie Mae, and what was the process and just understanding the potential of the opportunities around you? Was it the only one? Were there many? How did you go through that process?
There were a few fintechs that won some of our partners, but yeah, Sallie Mae. That process started last March, so about six
Wow.
months before it closed. It's probably longer. I mean, we were able to benefit from unique economics, like not raising a lot of unrisked 400K for Scholly, so that was a big thing. Being able to have control over the exit and being able to have control of that decision to exit, that was really important, and have a really great outcome for the founders and my early employees and my team. And then we closed last July, July 24th, and then we
Yeah.
had announced the deal. And then it was just an amazing experience being able to say your company bittersweet, which you can probably elaborate on later. But yeah, very bittersweet. Like thinking about everything you had to go through, getting to an exit, hiring the right people, and getting to
Yeah.
the other side.
I'm curious because Sallie Mae has had a interesting reputation, both from business perspective, even as a student myself, and hearing the reputation going into college, it's a little daunting because of how much, I don't know how to say power, but essentially they just have a lot of ownership in the student loan debt.
Mhm.
Did you consider that reputation going into the acquisition? Did that deter you at all? Did you have to go through an extra process? I'm curious.
I mean, yeah, it's something that we initially had a negative reaction to, and but I think that over time we realized that Scholly can be the face that changes that. Meeting with their CEO, John Witter, was important, and down to meeting their CPT and understand their vision for the company as we become an education solutions company is something that I resonated with, and something that I really wanted to and I something I really wanted to just support. So so just really supporting that vision. So being now Scholly by Sally, that has they made the app free. We're able to help more people, and I can't tell you
Yeah.
everything we're doing right now. But I think there are going to be more acquisitions on the horizon. I think there are going to be more impact on the horizon, and just being able to work with a lot of organizations and being able to achieve the impact.
Yeah. It's a smaller show. You can give us breaking news here. It's okay. When thinking about that relationship now as a founder, I mean, it's amazing to have, I think as a person of color myself, having a big name behind anything you do, that acknowledgement, that achievement, that accreditation, it speaks volumes, especially for future opportunities and even the growth to your own company. What has that really meant to you to be like, my company was acquired by Sallie Mae? It was so valuable that this larger conglomerate
It
had to have
feels
it.
great. It
Yeah.
feels great. I wish we could announce the amount and everything. It's amazing. As a founder, I've been great. I did take my first vacation. I'd be able to be able to live a lifestyle that I've worked very hard for and support people I want to support and do the things I want to do. And I think that I'm contractually retained for 2 years for Sallie Mae, so 2025. But technically, after that, I don't have to work. So that's a good place to be in when you first your family go to college and all that stuff. But yeah, it's been great. And then again, there are not a lot of black founders that have exits at all. So especially to big companies, right? So I think that being able to do that was historic and something that's powerful, and just being recognized. And again, creating something that someone wants to buy is always powerful,
Yeah.
especially when they acquired our entire team, 51 people. It was just like a lot
Wow.
of benefit to that, and really retaining, protecting my employees in a market that was really bad. The market
Yeah.
was just trash, and it maybe arguably still is with all these layoffs, but that was really help. It was really good to just be able to have that.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say a lot of rare acquisitions last year, and even now, I mean, the purse is so tight on venture capital and on
Mhm.
private equity side. And so it's exciting to see a company delivering solid outcomes being acquired by a large company, especially in these circumstances. And so obviously that, like you said, gave you the ability to make the app free. How exciting was that achievement to just really, as a milestone, be able to offer what you've always been wanting to, these services, for now free, being that you've created all these other business lines? What does that mean to you?
It's been great. That's because making the Scholarly Search app free and all been my dream, right? I wanted to do this. So everyone to find our business model. It took a learning curve for me to understand business and business models and unit economics
And what
and
it takes?
affiliate marketing, all this stuff. I'm a country from Birmingham, Alabama, so it definitely took time. But once I was able to do that, and I finally got into that model, it was really good, and just able to scale those learnings and be able to help and just be able to build the right business and ultimately get it to an exit. And then, yeah, so it was great. So,
Yeah. Do you still get recognized for being on Shark Tank?
We actually
Yeah.
have a Shark Tank coming up, actually, Shark Tank update coming up in a few months.
Oh,
So I
right
filmed,
on.
I filmed it in December. They have an Usher Weir update. Yeah, Shark Tank update and talk about acquisition and everything. Everything
I'm
we've accomplished.
excited. I'm excited to see. How has that relationship? Did you actually have the ability to get mentorship from Damien and it wasn't Barbara, it was
Lori.
Lori. I always forget
Lori,
her name for some reason. Yeah, yeah. Did you actually were you able to get some mentorship from them?
yes, a lot. And even to this day, they'll help with the deal, business development, a ton of different
What were some tips? I mean, obviously we go to the show to hear
things.
their expertise and advice, but you got
Right.
it firsthand.
Yeah, branding. I think that user acquisition distribution, able to use their likeness to reduce acquisition costs, use acquisition costs, that's been great. Yeah, and that's been a huge thing. Yeah, and just even though they were in CPG brands mostly, they were able to make some good connections. Like Damon, like a month after Shark Tank, I was at the White House, doing our
Wow.
bond minister, so that was really cool. Just showing up and just being advice and just being an extra source of capital, source of ears, and I think being able to make a lot of business development connections that would have been really hard for us to make on our own.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say having them, I'm sure, was a huge door opener. But in terms of advice that you would give another founder, something that
Mhm.
you've learned from them through this experience, what's something that you would share with someone?
I would say that depending on who you are, be persistent. Make sure you start off with the right business model from the start. I think that surround yourself with people that complement your personalities. Make sure you don't hire the wrong people. Take your time in the beginning. Make sure that they're the right people because one of the most expensive startup mistakes is hiring the wrong people, right?
Yeah,
And really being able to then also just being able to understand the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. I think a lot of people look at TechCrunch, a lot of people look at even a Scholly acquisition, they look at these things and they think, oh, if they romanticize entrepreneurship and realize oh, it's fucking hard and it always
yeah,
will be hard. So I think being able to understand and be realistic with that is something that
yeah,
I try to encourage entrepreneurs to do because I see a lot of entrepreneurs of color and even students come into that way into the space with this blind gleefulness and bliss that thinking that things are much easier than they actually are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. I see that all the time, especially with younger
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. But I mean, it's the name of the game, and you cut your teeth for that exact reason. I always like to ask founders, what was the time you felt fear running the business, and
Mhm.
how did you get out of it?
Fear running, trying to raise capital originally. Just, it was really hard. And that's why I just focused on got on Shark Tank, made the company profitable. That was
Yeah,
really it. So that was a big fear. Profitability, the pressures, getting to that, and being on a national TV show where people were paying, walking in the street. I saw you on Shark Tank. That's still a thing. And that's been really good. But that's been it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thinking about actually now you'll have a little bit more time and space to really think about the next objective in your career. Where does Chris go from here?
I think I'm gonna focus on my work at Sallie Mae. Also, angel investing. I may do some things on the side, but I really think some self reflection is good. Thinking about what management, thinking about those things. But we're gonna do a lot within Sallie Mae, and it's a lot gonna be good. And I'm also entering the AI space, and that's something that I really enjoyed. And starting to build new consumer facing products that just change the narrative of AI. That's something I want to do. But right now,
Yeah.
focus on the company, focus on Sallie Mae, and focus on scaling those efforts underneath them.
Yeah, you touched on AI. It's interesting because I was just watching it was a press release from the Argentinian president, prime minister, I can't remember, and essentially it was talking about their global economic situation, how they're going to change everything, but it was in English in his own accent
Mhm.
using AI, which I thought was just absolutely incredible, and it just sparked all this curiosity. When you talk about this negative perception, what do you mean?
I mean, people think AI is going to take jobs, right? Take their
Yeah,
jobs, and I think all these layoffs are extra exacerbating people. Like people think they'll take a job, and people think it is. They think all these layoffs and quote unquote downsizing are like just really AI is replacing workforces. AI is replacing people's like operating models, and just is. And I think it's probably going to get worse, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. Coming from, you said you came from it was a small town, right? You said Alabama,
Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. Wow, it's a famous town. Do people, I guess now I feel like Alabama has grown a tech scene. I guess you were growing your company at the time, was it hard for them to understand what you were doing and how you were doing it?
At the time, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
How much more are they receptive to your advice now that things have kind of grown?
Now because you're successful, but there's up to the financial stuff, yeah, but not, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I have the same experience when I go back home sometimes. Thinking about all this time in your career, if you weren't working on Scholly, what would you have been doing?
Banking, I love
Banking.
investment banking.
Yeah.
I love figuring creative ways to make money,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm competitive, so I think it would have fit me naturally, at least on a high level.
Yeah. I'm sure, obviously, as founders, we have very sparing time. If you were to recommend a couple books to people, things that really have influence and impact, maybe the way you think, strategy, the way you feel, changing mentality in times where it's hard, what are two books that have really lasted the test of time in your shelf?
First of all, I have my own book called Go Where There's No Path by Christopher Gray. That's number one. Something else, I have a book called Black Fortunes. There is another book called Good to Great. Building a Startup is a good book. And those are some of the those are some of the ones I immediately I would refer people to if you want to get started. Right. There are
Yeah.
other books like Warren Buffett's Snowfall. That's huge. That book I think is big. Damn, the biggest the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter, the Goblet of Fire. So yeah. So those are kind of the books I would recommend.
Yeah. What do you think? I feel like as we're in our own little worlds and different industries and things like that, what would you like to see as a change in at least the whole tech landscape, startups? For me, for instance, I'd like to see a lot more just like honest reflection of teams and sizes. And I feel like it gets a little bit inflated and we see just a lack of quality
Mm-hmm.
nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
What about companies and startups that you're seeing now? What would you like for it to change or improve?
I think that the market has changed right now, and I think the bar is higher for startups, but that's causing a lot of startups to have a hard time raising capital. So I have a hard time getting to those milestones that would qualify them for a raise. Because the catch-22, I can't raise capital to get to the tracking you want. I can't raise the pre-seed. You want me to give up 30% of my company at pre-seed, another 20, 30% at seed. That sort of thing's happening. So I think that companies putting their head down, being prepared, is something that I'd recommend, and then adjusting to just a new market and the investing landscape. Because it's new. And I think for people of color, the George Floyd movement spoiled a lot of people. These founders, they raised money because it was free. And then now they're like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I did this, then this is their first time dealing with the times changing, right? And
Right.
you have a lot of zombie companies because of that. They're there if they exist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of companies that, in my opinion, that should not have raised capital or didn't have a reason to, or they're trying to. I talk to founders. I'm like, I don't think you should be doing that. I don't see the
Yeah.
benefit. Would you have if things
The
didn't work out
problem
with
they're
Shark?
trying to solve, the problem they're trying to solve is that it's ego. They want to feel like I raised more, I did this, I did that. Then they
Yeah,
don't talk about how much revenue they have or how much they diluted themselves. They never
yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. Well, that's not fun to talk about. But in terms of, I lost my train of thought. I have it. I'm finding the train. When you mentioned about the skeleton or zombie companies, for instance, how has I've liked it because I see a lot more businesses delivering really good products.
Mhm.
Unlike I'm a big fan of bootstrap companies who are really like taking either small amounts here and there from angel investors or whatnot. How do, how do you think it's improved the quality of the companies?
I think the quality of the companies has really improved because they went back to the fundamentals. When people were raising money on steroids, it was just raising money. I'm gonna burn 7 million and make 2 million, right?
Yeah,
And just pour money on Facebook ads and all that stuff, and it's not stable. Now the market has shifted to make people more responsible. So I
yeah,
think that while this market is rough, it's going to be like another 2006 to where Google was started and all these other companies, Airbnb. And I think that when they hit its peak again, these companies are going to be the leaders because they fundamentally have went back
yeah,
to the basics. You want a company that goes to be profitable as quickly as possible, not grow at all costs, not grow super fast, be profitable fast, but not grow super fast. And I think that's a muscle that a lot of founders didn't have, and I think that they're going to develop that now
yeah,
because of these experiences and they're engaged and how investors are moving and engaging with founders right now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's going to make the quality better because people focus on profit and focus on customers rather than a founder spending 90% trying to raise capital for their idea and spend 90% of their time getting customers. That's a net. That's a net positive, and it actually is a better look for investors.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the trend of a lot of, I was talking to my partner about this. The old American dream was to come to America and make it big.
Mm-hmm.
The new American dream is to leave America. Where do you think, I guess, as a country, we can be reinvesting into like culture? Maybe, I mean, for me, it's an education problem. It's just, there's not enough money going into education. People are not getting the resources I can access. And then people, unfortunately, just have less ability, skills, and things like that. Where do you think, as a country, we can start reinvesting into what actually would be successful long term, and whether it's business, whether it's education, something else?
I think all of the above, right? I think that the government should put a cap on what colleges can charge, or colleges need to really justify the reason why they're raising tuition and things like that, or forcing kids to stay in room and board for 2 years, right? It's just things like that, just profit. And I think that we're going to university and things are going to move into a skill based assessment model, to where like you're seeing jobs are not requiring degrees anymore. They're putting more merit and placement on more merit and weight on skills. So I
Yeah.
think being able to know how to do the job is going to trump being able to just say I went to this school, et cetera. So I think that is going to remove the teeth and just make it. Just, I think we're going to start seeing hard events, these Ivy League school events, all this stuff have much more open because it just everything is in there. So that's what I see.
Yeah. When I was going to college, I was like, the reason I'm going honestly is to get the receipt that said I've been here, I've done that, and then open some doors for me. Really is how I viewed it. And
Yeah.
so for my siblings, they're younger than me. I'm having a harder way to convince them in the importance of it. Right now, I'm like, it's really a way to learn and hone skills in an environment that's a softer entrance into real life. And if you can do it, great.
Right.
What is your, I guess, advice for people considering college or all these students? What's the purpose of college for you now?
I think colleges have hundreds of millions of dollars endowments. They're not going anywhere, but I think they will repurpose their content to be to be skills based. At least offer that as an option. I think college is important because, especially for first generation students, it puts them in a different environment, and that environment has waves and waves of just impact there. So I think that being able to put yourself in an environment where you're surrounded by like-minded people, you're away from violence, all that stuff, and you have that sense of agency and those formative days of your life where you grow up. I think all of that's really important. And so I think the college will remain relevant. It will remain important because I do believe that education is about to be democratized where you can learn a lot of things and it's not in colleges in order to compete or have to lower their prices or have unique offerings that ultimately they'll be forced to lower the cost of education with just the way regulation plus the idea of these AI learns like our skills trainer that that we want to launch eventually and the other stuff that that other companies want to learn, like helping students learn skills and all that stuff. Those are things that we're going to those things that we're going to do. But I think I think the concept of college is going to evolve and adapt that ideally it would be less expensive.
Yeah. What was like a culture shock moment for you in college?
Coming from the South and going to Philadelphia, that was a huge culture shock. Nothing, diversity, all this stuff. Yeah, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. For me, it was how dirty people were. I was just like, I can't believe people live like
And
this.
where are you from?
I'm from Sonoma County, which is wine country, if you know, if California. Yeah, and we're all from there. We're all there. So going to college and just seeing a whole different unparented behavior of people was crazy. We were pretty strict where I'm from. But Chris, it's been an amazing pleasure to pick your brain on business, really walk through your story and touch on some different, I think, really important and relevant things that a lot of people are really just becoming a little bit more aware of, whether it's education, whether it's the economy, building business. Last little bit, where can we find you? Where can we be a part of Chris and his journey as an audience?
I'm on LinkedIn, Christopher J. Gray. Look up Chris J. Gray Scholly. You'll find me. My Instagram is CJGRAY91. That's my IG. And those are two you can reach out to me.
Amazing. All right, Chris. It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.